What is good, y'all? I'm here to talk about the buffs and changes I made for Bloodmoon Ursaluna. So before I get into explaining my rationale for the type change, the stat tweaks, and most importantly, the move changes, and I think something that would be maybe confusing for a lot of people is the ability choices, right? You know, huge power, dark aura, all that stuff. I promise I'll get into explaining those in just a second, so stay tuned for that. But before I get into explaining that, I need to have a disclaimer for any new viewers. If you're new here, shout out to you. Appreciate you clicking on the video. If you're returning and you listen to all my videos and you listen to the intros, I really do appreciate that as well. But if you are new here, I recommend you pause the video and read the description because I've got a detailed bullet point list explaining my thought process behind the ROM hack and the way I balance things. So that'll definitely answer a lot of the questions you might have just from looking at this. Also, is the music all loud? I don't know. I think it's fine. Um, Most importantly, there is the move guide on the Google Sheet link down below. I also have videos explaining regular Ursaluna, which I'll show on screen right now, right here. And then, so you can pause and look at this. And then Ursa Ring right here. You can pause and look at this and compare them in your head. Of course, I have videos explaining them about 10 minutes each, so you can listen to those when you're done with this one if you haven't seen them yet. If you've already seen all those and you're watching this one, I appreciate you very much. Let me just fix this format a bit. But yeah, make sure you check out all the resources in the description. All very important. Again, especially that move guide, because I don't have time to cover every single little move change and buff in the videos. Um, yeah, so Blood Moon Ursa Luna, Dark type. Don't think I need to explain that too much. I think it makes perfect sense. Part of the reason I actually didn't give them Intimidate like Brace Space Ursa Ring has is because of Crocodile. I didn't want to remove Intimidate from Crocodile, and I am very strict for the most part with Pokemon, especially of dual type combos, having like shared abilities and stuff like that, because the way Pokemon function in this game pretty much entirely hinges on their abilities and the moves that they get. Um, stats can only differentiate something so much. So especially when they're both, for example, Crocodile is like also a semi-bulky physical dark ground type. So yeah, speaking of being a physical dark ground type, yes, Ursaluna. So it's always bothered me that Blood Moon has like no physical attack. Like it just doesn't make sense. Like he's the same fucking thing as base. Like you know what I mean? He's the same. She's the same fucking thing. Yeah, it makes sense that he's a mixed attacker. Special attack is sick. I love that idea. And obviously in vanilla, he doesn't have the BST to be a mixed attacker at all. So first thing I did is, if you're wondering with the bulk, I evened out their bulk so they have the same bulk as regular Ursaluna, just because that also bothered me personally. The stats being different is like so arbitrary. Like one of them is just standing up. He weighs a tiny bit more maybe, but it's like they're the same fucking thing. So I don't know. That also bothered me. So I even have their bulk, with the Blood Moon being a bit slower, but which makes sense to me. He's kind of like this older. Technically he's been living for a long ass time. That's why he like developed this mind's eye thing on his forehead. Speaking of, mind's eye is gone for obvious reasons. I mean, if you're not a normal, it's already shit to begin with. Like in an in-game context, obviously in competitive it's great because, I mean, it doubles. It makes you, it's like all the benefits that come with Scrappy, right? You're doesn't care if they use minimize and doubles or some shit. And then obviously, hitting ghost is good in competitive when the opponent is switching around into their ghost type to counter you. The AI is never doing that. So even if they were normal ground, it's still a bad ability. I would still remove it because it's just not good in an in-game context. Because if you need to hit a ghost type, you can just teach a dark move at literally no cost, or just switch out or use a different move or whatever. Um, so yeah, and obviously as a dark type, it's even more useless. So yeah, Dark Aura is the ability that really encourages the use of their special attack. So as you can see, so flavor-wise, that's why I chose Huge Power, right? It's because I just logically think it makes sense for them to be a strong physical attacker too. Like they're still a giant fucking bear, right? Um, However, base Ursaluna is still stronger physically because of brute force. So brute force base 140 attack is like well over like 230 base attack, I believe. Let me double check myself. Because 140, you're hitting 606, bro. Yeah, I think you're actually past the, yeah, you're at like 220, 230, yeah, like 228, 227 base attack. So Ursaluna with brute force is still much stronger than Blood Moon physically, because Blood Moon Ursaluna physically is only hitting base 168. So base Ursaluna is still like 50 base attack points higher. So base Ursaluna still excels physically, but 220 whatever base versus 168, those are both still incredibly high, strong attacking stats. So they're both very strong and can still kill things regardless. And then Blood Moon has that benefit of being a special attacker. Of course, like the dark type versus the normal type has its own benefits, right? Like dark ground is weak to fairy, and it's weak to fighting, which I mean both of them are weak to fighting, but mostly I would say fairy and bug. You're weak to fairy and bug, while um, base Ursaluna is not weak to those, so that's definitely something to keep in mind. Also, base Ursaluna resists fire and is neutral to ice, while Bloodmoon Ursaluna is neutral to fire and weak to ice because of thick fat. So that's another benefit of like a defensive advantage, right, of keeping one versus the other. And then of course base Ursa Ring has Intimidate and a Violite and is pure normal, so it has less weaknesses, which could be beneficial in theory, although obviously the dual type gives you more resistances and is beneficial as well. Um, so point is, they're all pretty equal, with Ursa Ring being by far the fastest of the three. And then even base Ursaluna can abuse something like Scarf once in a while because, it hits like base 92-ish speed with base 60. Bloodmoon Ursaluna is probably not using Scarf very often, if ever, and they don't have any other way to boost their speed. So they are the slowest of the three, but they are still incredibly bulky, and they're a very strong mix attacker. And I also love how Bloodmoon is now, as you can read, it's Twilight Cannon, right? Also, if it's not obvious from people who, I don't know, can't read or something, it says right here, Ursa Ring is now a branched evolution. So you can choose to evolve into Blood Moon or into regular Ursaluna or to keep Ursa Ring. It's really up to you. And this music loop is like shitty. It's like silent for like 10 seconds. But yeah, and again, you can read this whole thing too to understand the attacking comparisons more. But Twilight Cannon is fucking awesome. So Dark Aura 140 base special attack is actually stronger than Huge Power 65 base. I can do the math right now. Hold on. 404 times 1.3 is 525. So yeah, 525. And that's without stab too, by the way. But let's ignore that for now. Because with Dark Aura, stab actually goes. Basically, Dark Aura, if you can, it's almost like adaptability, but for Dark type moves only. If you're a Dark type, because it's a 1.95 times boost, because it stacks with stab, unlike adaptability, which doesn't stack. So it's 5% weaker than adaptability. There's also a small drawback that you have to keep in mind with Dark Aura is that it also boosts the opponent's Dark moves. So your Dark resistance with Dark Aura is actually much less reliable. I mean, obviously you still resist Dark, but you are taking more damage. You barely resist Dark with Dark Aura active. So keep that in mind. Very minor interaction, but could come up. Yeah, they've got so many cool moves, but that Twilight Cannon especially is like the coolest fucking thing ever, right? Like it's just a giant dark type laser move coming out of his fucking forehead with the dark aura. It's literally just like a soul blast, fucking obliterating you. It's such a cool. I don't know. I love funny. It's just cool, man. And obviously that's very good with Quick Claw especially, or just with a bulky set. And obviously you're not always going to want that Dark Aura boost. You can even still abuse a mixed attacking huge power set with Twilight Cannon because the special attack drop is insignificant after the, for example, you can use Twilight Cannon and then use like a physical move after. Also, Mud Bomber always crits and is essentially special ground type surging strikes, so you can use Twilight Cannon into Mud Bomber to ignore the special attack drop from Twilight Cannon, so that's great. You can also use like a Jetpack Twilight Cannon, you can Parting Shot out after, whatever it is, right? So all types of fun ways you can abuse that Twilight Cannon. But the easiest way is just to slap on a Quick Claw. It's a single-use consumable trigger, guaranteed trigger, so you can slap on a Quick Claw, outspeed something, get on the field very easily because you're bulky and just blow something up if you want to. You've got other strong dark moves too with Dark Aura. But back on the topic of comparing the offensive stats, yeah. So 65, I already covered as base 168, right? So with Dark Aura, your special attack when using dark moves is equivalent to like base, yeah, like 190 something. Can I do math? 195? Yep. 195 base special attack equivalent with Dark Aura. Keep in mind, so that is like 30 points higher almost than your physical attack. However, it only works with dark moves. Meanwhile, Huge Power works with literally every single physical move that you have, of which you have many. Your special coverage is pretty good too. Not that you need coverage that much anyway, but it's good to have. Your physical coverage is much stronger in terms of base power though. Like the special coverage moves are weaker for the most part. You got like Moonblast and Psychic and Aura Sphere and all these other moves. Flavor-wise, by the way, I see Psychic because they've got that whole like Mind's Eye thing going on. And then Aura Sphere for the same reason, right? They can kind of fire like this aura beam from their forehead. And they're also like kind of a weird, like they're almost like a legendary in the real games, right? Like this ancient, Ursaluna that like developed this fucking power over time. But yeah, yeah, it bothers me, dude. I fucking hate that Blood Moon is a normal type move. I hate shit. It's such a stupid, like, what were they cooking, man? I don't know. I don't know why they didn't just make him dark type. It really bothers me. So I'm very happy I could rectify that too. And it makes them, more different from one another. All three of them are different typings, which is cool. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, Throat Spray Roar even is pretty good because Roar is a single-use priority. switching move, so you can switch the opponent out and get a free special attack boost with Throat Spray, which is kind of cool. Battle Armor plus Calm Mind or Bulk Up is very good, specifically with Calm Mind, because you know your attack is bad unless you're using huge power. And you can always switch between your abilities, right? The beauty of being like a mixed attacker in this ROM hack is it's so easy to switch between your abilities constantly, literally constantly, and you can switch your moves at any point. You can switch your EV spread, so it's very easy to run like a full defensive Battle Armor and then run like special attacking Dark Aura, and then run a physical attacking huge power. It really, you can alternate between all of those at any point, and it's very, very good. Brutal Swing, Dark type Double Edge, Night Daze is Dark type Wicked Blow. So I basically gave him all the super strong Dark moves upon evolution at 45. That also encourages the use of his quote-unquote lower special attack, because I still like him to be a special attacker at heart, right? Like I would like him to be specially leaning. I just think it makes sense for him to also be strong physically. So yeah, very equal overall. You know, especially with that move relearner, it's very nice and easy to just switch between the two, which is more convenient at the time. Depending on the boss fight, depending on whatever Pokemon you're trying to kill, you can use physical or special. Hypnosis is nice with Wide Lens plus Fiery Wrath. That's another inaccurate move, so those are both two cool little inaccurate options that you can take advantage of with Wide Lens. Fiery Wrath has a 130 power and it always burns, but again, it does require that Wide Lens. Doom Desire is super cool. I actually forget the interactions between Dark Aura and Doom Desire. If I remember correctly, it will not be boosted because Dark Aura is only active when you're on the field. So I'm 99% sure that Doom Desire only gets the Dark Aura boost if you're on the field when it hits, which is still good. You know, you can still do like a Doom Desire, Slack Off, whatever, you know, stall set like that and just blow things up over time with Doom Desire, which is actually stronger than Twilight Cannon. Doom Desire is 150 power. You can also combo Twilight Cannon into Doom Desire, actually, because oh, you know, it'd be sick. Actually, does this work? Yes, it does work. Okay, so what you could do is Doom Desire, then Twilight Cannon, drop your special attack. Next Pokemon comes in, hit Slack Off or whatever you want to click, like to burn a turn, right? And then Doom Desire hits. And because Doom Desire is a guaranteed crit move, it's going to ignore the special attack drop as well. So that's really fucking cool. You can definitely do that. And then you can like parting shot out or whatever other shit you want to pull off there. But yeah, Battle Armor is great, especially on such a bulky mon. It's just good to, you know, not have to worry about crits at all ever. And also being able to boost your stuff with like Calm Mind reliably. Um, I don't know why this loop is so bad, but yeah. I don't know, not too much else to talk about really. You had Long Rush is obviously strong. Temper Flare, Stone Edge are also really strong Wicked Blow variants. Same with Soul Crush and Brutal Bash. All of the Wicked Blow variants in the game, for the most part, besides a couple of exclusive ones, can't be used twice in a row. So not a big deal for Ursaluna because he's not really using Choice Scarf ever. It's mostly to balance out like Choice Scarf, Choice Band, stuff like that. But he's slow anyway, so it's not a big deal. Although Twilight Cannon is still stronger than Night Daze and Fiery Wrath and you know, it's your strongest dark move by far, which is cool. Of course, it has the drawback of lowering your stats, but that's a very reasonable and fun drawback, I would say. I love switching around and a bunch, so that's the kind of playstyle I like to encourage in my hacks. Yeah, Sucker, huge power is strong. Obviously, that's stab priority. The others don't have any stab priority, technically. So that's also good. Yeah, I don't know, man. There's a bunch of other small things I would love to touch on, like Night Burst. That's a dark priority special. Glare is really good with Battle Armor as well as Battle Cry. Both of those. So Glare drops the attacking stats by -1 and paralyzes, while Battle Cry drops it by -2 and doesn't paralyze. So you know you can use either one depending on the situation, and both of those are very good with Battle Armor. Same with Parting Shot, right? Any stat dropping move plus Battle Armor is incredible because you don't ever have to risk crits. So that's very, very good. And yeah, overall, super fun, really cool. He's definitely my favorite design of the three. I just think he looks sick. So yeah, thanks for listening. Shout out to you if you made it to the end. I really do appreciate it. There's a few small things I would touch on, but I don't want to waste too much time talking about them. So I trust that you guys can look into them on your own. You know, like the priority mud shot and a bunch of the effects of the coverage moves and all these little things. So yeah, I do appreciate it if you made it to the end. Seriously, it does mean a lot. Drop a comment, you know, all that good stuff, and I'll be back for more coming up, y'all. Peace.